Thank you. Like Gina said, my name is Mark Rain. I currently work for the City of Houston, the Office of Emergency Management. Been there 6 years. And prior to that, the 30 years prior to that, I worked for the Houston Police Department. So the last 7 years on the police department, I was part of the catastrophic planning unit. They put that together to kind of bring emergency management to the police department. There's always been emergency management and fire service. The police departments wanted to do the same thing, so that's where I got my start in emergency management. Let's see, what else have I done? That's really it. Since I joined the Texas Army National Guard and the police department, I've responded to every natural and man-made disaster in Texas and some in other countries too. So part of the space shuttle, when it crashed all over East Texas, hurricanes, and it was interesting because in the National Guard, if you work for a emergency response agency, they don't deploy you home if you're already a part of a hurricane. So Allison and Harvey, all the big storms down here, I worked as a Houston police officer while my soldiers worked as soldiers. So during Harvey, I was a sergeant major, so I had my Army phone in one hand, my police phone in the other hand, and every time they needed something Army-wise, I would just dispatch it to my guys, because my unit did swift water rescue. We had 13 boat crews, and that's what we did as part of our military service to the state of Texas. I have 3 beautiful children. This is my home parish, so welcome to Christ the Redeemer. When my wife and I moved out here, the only part of this church that was here was this building, that church, and that hall. That's it. The rest was grass. But I think the Boy Scouts had a trailer at the back of this parking lot. But that was it. It wasn't a small parish. It was very, very big for the very, very small footprint. And then God sent us Father Sean. And Father Sean has built a unbelievably beautiful church and school here for us. So he's going to do well. He gets to go back to a smaller parish, to St. Vincent's, to Paul. So he'll love that over there. I know some of y'all are from St. Max. My uncle went to St. Max. I grew up in way deep Southwest Houston. Went to St. Benedict's, was my home parish, and Bishop Fiorenza was my parish priest. So that's who I was baptized by, was Bishop Fiorenza. So that's my Catholic background. All my kids were confirmed here. So we'll see if I just became a grandparent for the first time. My youngest had my first grandchild. My second grandchild will be born in July. So I'm on the grandpa train. And I go by grandpa, nothing else. My friends, my youngest daughter's husband's parents, they go by Lolly and Pop. I was like, no. I called both of my grandparents Grandma and Grandpa. So I figured if it was good enough for my grandparents, it'd be good enough for me too. And both sets of my grandparents were lifelong members of Corpus Christi Church. So if any of y'all from Corpus, this is a northern. Oh, awesome. So that's where all of my family went to school, and we all got baptized there. We all got confirmed there. So yeah, so we love Corpus. Monsignor Flynn. Yep. Okay, so why am I here today? I'm here because there's something very important for everybody. It doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter where you come from, or what you do, or how much money you have, or how little money you have. You have to be prepared for what we deal with in our lives. The number one thing we deal with every year is weather. So this is mostly going to be about weather, but this will apply to anything. And I want you to start thinking about, how are you going to evacuate? All of you. So I see a walker. But it's very important that you have a plan. Okay, so I'm going to go through this, and I'm fixing to have my knees replaced. I jumped out of airplanes with the Army for 13 years. So that's my favorite uncle. His name is Sam. He's going to give me some new knees. So I'm probably going to be on a walker myself here in a couple of weeks. But this is what the city of Houston does. This is what we do at the OEM. We're responsible for coordination. I no longer answer calls for service. I'm not a first responder. But what I do is I coordinate. Am I standing right in the middle of that screen?
Pretty much.
There's really not a place for me to stand. I'm going to stand over here for a minute. So I'm going to stand over here. So I no longer respond to an emergency. What I do is I coordinate resources. I coordinate people and things. So that's my specialty now. So we coordinate, and we also do preparedness, response, and recovery from anything from a natural disaster to a man-made disaster. If you remember back probably around 2000, the Watson grinding explosion in Northwest Houston at Gessner and Clay. Okay, so we responded to that. We coordinated fire and police and emergency people, because that explosion literally shifted homes off of their slabs. So it was a big deal, and it went on for about 3 weeks. So that was a long 3 weeks for me. The George Floyd protests, when George Floyd was killed in Minnesota, he was buried here. He's from here. So when they got done with all the burning the West Coast up, they brought him back to us, and we got to take care of him until he was buried. So that was a mess as well. So our mission is to safeguard everybody's lives. How we do that is teaching preparedness. Preparedness always comes first, because if you're not prepared, you can't respond. And if you're not prepared, you have a hard time recovering, because you just get caught behind. So let's talk about what all that means. So this is how we think. These are our, everybody has acronyms. So, everybody in this room grew up with Spam, right? Still eat it. My kids get all weird every time I break it out, but I love it. Now they make it pepper flavored. They have like 12 flavors. You go to H-E-B, it's like, ooh, it's like, look how fun. But this is how we teach incident priorities, is by LIPS. That's our acronym. First thing we always do is we manage life safety. Life safety is always first. We stop the dying, we stop the hurting, and we make sure we take care of everybody first. Then we worry about stabilizing the incident. That could be from a big fire, that could be from a train derailment and a chemical spill. It could also be from a hurricane. So we have to stabilize the incident. That makes everything to where people can start trying to get back to normal. Property protection, that comes third. Then societal recovery. An easy way to say that is, what's the new normal going to look like? Okay, so once we kind of figure that out, then when it's no longer in the news, we're working on societal restoration. Because people get down the road, they put it behind them, and they start looking forward, and we start doing other things. But this is what we also do. Our EOC supports strategic support, so the big picture. We make sure we support policy, our administration, and the whole mission as a whole. So that's what SPAM is. So this is what we respond to: incidents and events. An incident is a hurricane. That's easy, big fire. But an event is something that's planned, like FIFA, right? So now we're responding to FIFA. We have base camps, we have stadiums. Don't know what they're all called anymore, because FIFA made us take the names off of them. But we have practice facilities, hotels, airports. We have unbelievable amount of coordination that goes into having an event like this. The only difference is time. With a hurricane, if you're lucky, you get 120 hours, which is about 7 days. But with an event, we've been planning FIFA for 2 years. Just like we planned Super Bowl 51, we got 2 years. So, and it took us 2 years to get all that put together. So these are the 4 principles of preparedness. This is where we start talking about being prepared. Everybody here should have a plan. You should have a plan, 2 plans. Your first plan is how are you going to survive in your house with no power for 3 or 4 days? Well, Generac made that easy for some of us. But if you don't have power, I remember growing up, losing power was not a big deal. Mom broke out all the candles, we opened all the windows, and we just did our deal, right? I don't know why that doesn't work anymore, but it just doesn't. Haven't figured that out. I mean, it's still the same. Houston, I grew up here my whole life. Drove a truck, 12 years without air conditioning. I mean, I'm still here, so I know it works. And make a plan to evacuate, to leave. So I'd spent a lot of time building plans for people that are medically fragile. The definition of that is you cannot get yourself up and evacuate yourself. If you can't do that, I help people make plans to do that because that's important to me. Because I had to have a plan for 3 of my 4 grandparents when they were immobile. They were coherent, but they could not evacuate themselves. So we got with our family, we made a plan. That's very important. I went and met their neighbors. That's part of get connected. I went and met all of my grandparents' neighbors because they lived in the same houses for almost 60 years, and their neighbors all changed probably 10 times in my lifetime. So always made sure I knew them, had their phone numbers so I could call them. And, hey, how are my grandparents? So I tell everybody is always know your neighbors. I know I don't get along with all of my neighbors either, but I know who they are, right? Because I'm not telling you to get along with them, just know who they are. I had an elderly brother and sister, and I say elderly, they're like in their late 80s, early 90s, and in the last 3 months I've lost them both. But I knew what their conditions were, and I knew what was going on when an ambulance showed up, right? So just get connected. Make a plan. Make a plan to stay at home. Make a plan to evacuate. Know where you're going, right? So stay informed. Listen to the news, a trusted news source, not the interwebs, not Instagram, not Facebook. I tell them all my kids are like, oh, Dad, look, I get TikToks from them. I'm like, stop sending me all that stuff. And that's just, if anybody's got a creative tool, they put it out on the interwebs. That's not the truth. That's just opinion. A good, dedicated news source. Any of our news channels, National Weather Service, Harris County Flood Control, those are trusted sources. That's who I use.
Are those websites or are they?
They are. You can go to their websites and they'll have all that information. Yeah. We used to hand all that out, and I'll apologize for the modern era. We're going all digital, so all of that stuff is on our website. Just one click. We have all that stuff there.
And that's
HoustonOEM.org. It's coming up. And I will give Gina a copy of this. And if anybody wants a copy for your councils at your parishes, she'll give you a copy. Build a kit. Build a kit for staying home. I got cheaters. I take these off, I can't see any of you. I have 4 pairs of these. I have 2 packed in my go bag, and I got 1 in my face and 1 in my truck. So these are important. Medicine, I take medicine every day. Those are important. I keep them cycled in my go bag just because I have to deploy. One of these things happen, my family's taken care of, so I got a plan for them, and I have to go to work. So I always I'm ready to go. You should be ready to go too. And we're going to talk about when to go here in a little bit. But build a kit. Medicine, glasses, things that you need that are most important to you. Okay, everybody says, oh man, shelf-stable food, water, those things are important too. You got to have those. But if you take medicine like I do for my high blood pressure and my cholesterol, I stop taking all that stuff, food and water not gonna do me any good. So those things, and it's for you. It's good.
Can we get a checklist someplace? Is that
Sure.
on the website?
So, and most of these checklists are personal. But I will tell you, medicine, glasses, cash. I know almost nobody deals with cash anymore. But you gotta have cash, because guess what doesn't work when there's no power? Nothing. That's right. You can't buy anything unless you have a handful of cash. I'm not telling you to get a ton of cash, but just enough to get you gas, get you stuff you need, and some kind of battery-powered radio.
What do you recommend cash-wise, like $100, $200?
How much it costs to get gas today? I recommend $300 or $400, because you're going to spend 60 or 70 getting gas. And that's only going to get you maybe where you're going. And you got to get gas again. Well, hopefully they got power there. But it's really up to you. You have the staples, maybe some food, maybe some water, stuff that's not going to go bad. Spam. Spam and water, that's what I'm talking about.
You can get canned roast beef.
Sure.
Because
Oh,
I went to Walmart to check it all out, and they had the little cans, like canned chicken and tuna, and they have roast beef.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. SpaghettiOs. Nothing better than SpaghettiOs cold, man. Whew, I love it. So, but you know, these are things. Get these things for yourself today and yesterday. Because when that newsman jumps on there and goes, "Woo! Look at these swirly clouds," it's too late. Every store just got wiped out. Every store just got wiped out. So get them when you don't need them. They're shelf stable. Okay, I'm not going to beat that horse up.
Can I ask you, how long does water last? Can you?
You want my opinion, or do you want what everybody says?
I don't know.
So I have water that's over a year old in the plastic bottles.
They have the bottles have
They do.
expiration
I-
dates on them if you want to go buy
You
them.
know, so I have people in my family that go through the refrigerator, expired one day, trash. You'd have done that in my grandmother's house, she'd have broke your arms. Would you throw away? You can scoop that off the top, eat the rest of it. No, but nowadays, people are like, oh, but I digress. I love my they taught me a lot of valuable lessons on how to live outside and just scrape off what doesn't smell good and eat the rest. I'm still here. And I'll be honest with you, I'm never sick. I drink water out of the faucet, unless I'm in a City of Houston building. But I do. I drink water out of the faucet, drink it out of the hose. I got a ranch in East Texas. I drink it out of my well, straight out of the ground. So there's something to be said about your parents and my grandparents. They had a lot to give us. And you just got to remember that you don't need all the fluff. You just got to get enough to get by. Build a kit. That's very important. One to stay and one to go. Of course, the one to go is you got to have clothes. You got to have those. So when I was a kid, I grew up with 2 pairs of shorts and 2 T-shirts. Never wore the T-shirts, so I don't know how often they got washed. But you don't need a bunch. But you got to be able to get down the road.
Another thing too, I took pictures of all my contents of my home, just in case I wait for insurance purposes.
Yep. And keep that with you. Some type of digital copy of your records. Like bring your vital records with you.
Yes.
Everything you own can be replaced as long as you have some proof you had it. That's a very good point. All right. Everybody knows about hurricanes, right? So you know the H numbers, I tell you H minus 48. We're at H minus 48. What that means is that's 48 hours before tropical storm force winds hit the coast of Texas. That's what that means. And the H model goes all the way out to 120. So when you hear of the H minus 120 timeline, that's what that means. They start at H minus 120. That's 7 days. So they give you time to prepare and get ready. Okay? Well, Mother Nature is not that polite. Mother Nature doesn't always give you 120 hours. So, but when you hear the H minus, that's from when the tropical storm force winds or higher hit the coast. Okay, so we still have an hour or two before they hit us up here, way up here in Houston. But you're gonna feel them, right? So we tell everybody every storm is different. You know, the size, the surge, the wind, and the rain. So I'm gonna give you a quick hurricane lesson. If you look at a map, you're watching TV, and you see that hurricane is like small and compact, it will be moving lightning fast for a storm. Okay, that means it's gonna come and go quickly. It's gonna be high winds, very little rain, it's just gonna come and go. But when that storm takes up the entire Gulf of Mexico, that means it's a huge, huge storm that's pushing water towards land. Okay, so little bitty tight storms, there's not gonna be much storm surge. But big, big, huge storms like Ike took up the entire Gulf of Mexico, huge storm surge, 21 feet. 21 feet of water where it's not supposed to be. So you do the math, we're in an 8-foot room. Okay, so almost three full stories. That's why Bolivar got wiped off the face of the earth, because the water went right over those houses. Storm surge, run from the storm surge, hide from the wind. That's why I say to give you the examples. You're not going to evacuate your home for high winds, unless the high winds are like 200 miles an hour. But that's probably not in our lifetime, because it may hit the coast as a high category type storm, like category 2 or category 3, but they're not going to be like that when they get here to us. Okay, so don't automatically think that this is a Cat 3 storm, we're going to evacuate. You're not. So we have zones. I think there's a map in here. Okay, here's Houston. Okay, these are the storm surge zones. When you hear of a mandatory coastal evacuation, that's this purple zone. Nowhere near us. Or you hear a zone A or a zone B. Zone B is getting close. And then we have some of zone C, Clear Lake, and some of the ship channel is in zone C. I have, since Rita, there has never been another emergency evacuation or a full evacuation of Houston, Texas. And this is why. That's why these storm surges were developed, because of that tragedy that happened during Hurricane Rita. The roads got so locked up and so congested, more people, we didn't even get a drop of rain from Rita, and we lost 20 people. So that's why these were developed, because of Hurricane Rita. So if you live up here, which I think this is the northwest group, right? So you're going to be up here with me. You're probably not ever going to evacuate. You're not going to be told to evacuate. But you could lose power. You could lose water, right? So you could lose the necessities to live. So if you are medically fragile, it would be important for you to have a plan and a kit to leave, just because you may not be able to live without power. So a very good friend of mine, he's my age, can't live without his oxygen. He has it's an oxygen regenerator. So it's not a bottle, but the thing he wears generates oxygen That's how he breathes. If he can't plug that in, he doesn't live. So these storms flicker, so anything happens, he's immediately looking for somewhere to go. His plan is anytime something bad happens, he's got somewhere that goes. Like he comes to my house because I have a generator. And he just lives on my couch until he gets power back in his house and he goes home. So you have to, if you need those things, you have to have a plan. And, you know, we're not getting any younger. And my job I used to be the biggest hammerhead. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, but don't they have centers set up normally, even just in case people do that?
We will set up centers, but we cannot guarantee they'll have power. We're getting there. So 4 years ago, we did that. Our centers lost power. As of the end of this year, every single one of the centers that we open will have generators.
But that's not till the end of this year. We still gotta get.
Right. So, but the ones that we open, have emergency generators. So we won't open them. Then
they don't have one. Okay.
and that was because of Ike.
Right.
We tried to open centers and they lost power. Same with Uri. No, who would expect the whole state of Texas to go black on power? Every county, not just most of them, every county lost power. And so we've scrambled since then too. That's where the generator push has come from. Because the one thing that we've never lost is natural gas flow. What do all the generators run on now? Natural gas.
Hot water heater, my heat.
Yep. So this is so you run from the water, you hide from the wind. Okay? Because the wind, most of our homes are good for wind. What we're gonna get here. Now, if you live way down south in Kemah or Tiki Island or Galveston, maybe not. But Mira, I'll tell you about the 120 hours. These are the only storms that we've gotten that gave us 120 hours of notification out of all the ones that hit Houston. These are just the storms that hit Houston. So only 8 out of 67 storms gave us 120 hours to prepare.
You never know which way they're gonna go.
So these are the ones we worry about the most. The ones that start right here, that spin up in the Gulf, those are the ones we worry about the most. So everybody wants to know, how many storms are we going to get? Yes, ma'am.
On the average, the ones that don't give you the H120, what's the average? Is it like a day or two, or on the other one?
Probably 3 days or less. It's 3 days or less. Yeah, we always have about 48 hours or more, 56 hours. They usually don't spin up right off the coast of Texas. So they usually get a little bit to get out there and get mad. So this is the 2026 Atlantic hurricane outlook. Probably going to be a little bit less of an active season this year by a storm or two in each category because of the super El Nino. That means the water around the equator is a little cooler, and we're not going to, just the chances of storm production is not as high. So still going to get between 1 and 3 majors, 3 to 6 hurricanes, and 8 to 14 named storms. We surpassed all these numbers last year. So
What does it look like for this year?
this is it. So this is going to be, they're predicting it's going to be a little less active than last year. Yep, so these are our surge zones. All right, make a plan. Pretty much think we've covered the make a plan pretty good. So have how many plans?
2.
2 plans, one for staying and one for, that's right. And they're important. And make sure your family knows your plan, right? So your kids are gonna call and go, hey, what are you doing? I'm going to El Paso for the weekend. Because y'all are going to get wet. You know, just make sure when you make your plans, make sure your whole family knows them so they're not surprised. And if you have a family so if y'all, how many list makers do I have here? Okay, list makers, step followers, right? Yeah, okay, Mom. We got to practice this. That's what my mom told me. I helped her make a plan. She goes, well, let's practice. All right, Mom, grab your suitcase. Let's go to the ranch. No. We got to do the whole thing. I said, okay. But if you're a list maker and you're a step follower, make sure you do that. So you're comfortable. I don't have to be comfortable with your plan. But you do.
I made a plan during Harvey, but I couldn't get to my sister's because she was surrounded by water. So I stayed at home, and then my home flooded, and when I was able to evacuate to a neighbor, but when I asked for someone to come and get me, they basically said, we can't because they were overwhelmed.
Yeah. So I've been in Houston my whole life. 2 times in my whole life have we ever been beaten by Mother Nature immediately. Harvey was one of them, and Winter Storm Uri was the other one. Nobody, I don't know, even today, we don't know how to prepare for that. Because it's just amazing how immediately everything was overwhelmed. Yeah, Harvey was crazy.
Mark, can I ask you, a lot of times the cell phones go out, you know, because of power or whatever. What's the best way to communicate with family when we all have cell phones?
Yeah,
And most people don't.
that's a
Some
good
people
question.
do have
You should still be able to text with your cell phones.
Oh, okay.
Because it just takes so much more bandwidth to talk on the phone. I would make that part of your plan that if we don't communicate in a certain number of hours, we meet somewhere.
Okay.
Just a suggestion on that, the cell phone's congesting, is if you have a point of contact as part of your plan, let's say a relative lives in Chicago, you can talk, the long distance lines are less congestible than the local ones, so you can call that person and say, well, the kids are moving to the safe point in front of the Kroger's parking lot, or something, whatever it is.
I would text.
Yeah, and Katrina in New Orleans, that was the only way you could communicate. was texting.
Well, we just
It's not
use.
that the lines are overbooked, it's the
Right.
cells get overbooked.
Yeah, if you live close, you can use a repeater type radio, but nobody has those.
Oh, and I have a solar charger now.
Oh yeah, I would have a solar charger, 100%.
You just put it on the sun and it charges and you don't need electricity.
Or in the daylight.
Or
You don't want to
daylight.
actually put it in the direct sun because then it gets too hot. Because
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah,
So it's just out in
100%.
the daylight. so
solar
it's
charger
hard.
works beautifully.
Okay. So if you have a medical tag or bracelet, so these are some of the things that we have available to you. If you need a ride, you can build a plan with Metro. Metro will come get you. But it will only be local.
I was gonna say, aren't there limits?
It will only be within their service area. We also have the State of Texas Emergency Assistance Registry. If you know somebody that's medically fragile, that are bedbound, and they don't have a plan, usually caregivers are required to have a plan, the STEER registry will get somebody to check in with you before the disaster and after the disaster to see if you need help. And that's a pretty good one. We're finally, this has been a problem in the state for a long, long time, and we're finally figuring it out. So, because they made it a law. But these are just some of the things that if you have functional access needs that you can get with 211 is the United Way. They do a great job with helping people build plans.
You said they finally made it a law. Made what a law?
The activation and maintenance of the STEER registry. They made that a state law that it used to be just all voluntary, but now the actual reaching out to people and actually using this to help people, they've built a law around it. Still pretty vague, but we have a very, very solid plan in Houston and Harris County to help people that are on the STEER registry. And this is some stuff that I can talk more about some of these things in greater detail at another time. You can call me and I can help you understand.
But also make note too that it says there you must register every year, so it's not a one and done thing.
Yeah, and that's,
Once you're on there,
it drops off every year. The state law mandates that we keep the active registry for 2. So we will keep it for an additional year, but after the second year, they automatically fall off. And stay informed. So the Office of Emergency Management, HoustonOEM.org, most of the stuff you're asking me about, we have on our website. That you can tab around and find the weather. You can find the STEER registry. You can find a lot of information on HoustonOEM.org. Now, if you do not live in the city of Houston, if you live in unincorporated Harris County, you probably don't care about Alert Houston. So if you have something to write with, Ready Harris, all one word, that is how you get notifications in the county, unincorporated county. That's the same as Houston, Alert Houston, but the county does it. So you sign up for it, you sign up for the alerts you want and when you want them. So you don't just get everything.
What about Fort Bend?
I'll have to get back with you on that one because I don't know off the top of my head.
That's okay.
But I know those guys over there.
The same one.
It's going to be it's probably Ready Fort Bend.
So it's Ready Harris County?
It's Ready Harris.
Harris.
Yeah, just Ready Harris. Okay, I think we've pretty much gone through a kit. We've talked about all the things on this. And of course, I can make this presentation available to you. I'll give it to Gina. You want it, she'll pass it back to you.
make sure your gas tank's always full too. Don't let it go below. If a storm's coming, let it go, what, below a half a tank or keep it full or
I mean, it just depends. If you're going to plan it on leaving, I would fill it up.
keep it full?
And then returning home, recovery. If you have to evacuate, if they make you evacuate, when the rain stops, don't just come back. Check with your local Office of Emergency Management and make sure it's okay, because they still may be doing like home searches and stuff like that. It may not be safe for you to come back yet. Okay? But that information, we put this information out everywhere if you have to evacuate. Because if we make you leave, we're going to lock down your neighborhoods. Nobody's going in or out. We're going to have all the entrances blocked. There'll be police officers everywhere. It's not going to be, you're not going to be able to return until it's safe. Which is usually when the rain stops and the sun comes out, probably around 72 hours is about the average of how long before they start opening subdivisions up again. Okay, so these are some resources. We have prepared as guides, and I'm going to get a bunch to Gina. We just don't have a ton of them right now. We're doing about 10 of these a day. And so, and if you want them in Spanish or Vietnamese or Chinese, I can get you any of these 6 languages. So just let me know and I can get them. But you can scan that QR code if you're in the digital world and visit HoustonOEM.org. And you can and if you have questions, you can always reach out to Gina. And I think I have my contact information on here. If not, then I'll write it up here for anybody that wants to write it down, my email and my cell phone number. So if you want to reach out to me directly, I'll be happy to give you anything you need.
Oh, that's awesome.
You can never have a presentation without one hurdle.
Wait, I want to take a picture. Okay.
So, and obviously, since we all know that a storm could come, we don't have to wait until the notice goes out. I mean, you can get your water and your
Oh,
products that you need, that you know you're gonna need. And if you don't need them, you know, if you don't have a bad season, give them to the food pantry. There's lots of hungry people.
They haven't, or use them.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Haven't expired.
absolutely.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But if I was hungry, I'd eat it.
Can we, please?
Yeah.
Just so you know, Mark was taped. He gave us permission to do that. And the Office of Aging Ministry will also be connecting with you, and you will receive on our Saints Online, which is everybody. You can share this with any members of your family, to go on our website to get it off of our website. They can watch the whole thing with the presentation, with his whole experience of what to do and what not to do. It will be on it.